That is, suppose if the random variable, of course, the discrete random variable follows binomial distribution, then we represent or we denote X follows binomial distribution with the values n and p, where n is the maximum number of trials and p is the probability of getting success in a trial and which is fixed in all the trials. Okay, so here n comma p are called parameters of the binomial distribution. Okay, so obviously when if you know the binomial distribution here, the parameters n and p, then you can write the complete probability mass function, the table we can completely evaluate and we can write it. So now obviously when this is the probability mass function, then it is no, without any hesitation, without any doubt, we can say that it is true that by the properties of the probability mass function, it is true that the summation I runs from 0 to n probability of x, probability that the random variable takes the value xi is equal to 1. That is summation I runs from 0 to n. What is the probability mass function here? N cxi times p to the power xi times 1 minus p to the power n minus x. So that is equal to 1. In fact, it is nothing but p plus 1 minus p to the power n. This is the left hand. The left hand side is nothing but p plus 1 minus p to the power n, the binomial expansion. Okay, I hope you can see that one. Now one more thing here. What we meant by success or failure. Here we should not get we should be very clear about what we call success. For example, let me explain in the following example. Where see, you look at this problem, the probability that a patient recovers from a rare blood disease is given to be 0.4. Okay. If 15 people are known to have contracted this disease, what is the probability that the first one, at least 10 survive, and what is the probability that from 3 to 8 survive, and what is the probability that exactly 5 people will survive, 5 patients will survive from this rare blood disease. So here, what is the success? We mean how many trials we have here? 15 people are there. So n is equal to 15 here. That is very much clear. N is equal to 15. Okay, right. Now, what is the success here? What is the success means here? Recovers from a rare blood disease. That is recovering from the disease. That is what we call the success. Okay. So X. Okay, not X. Success means here recovering from the disease. Recovering from the disease. Now, what is the probability of a particular person recovering from this blood disease? That is given to be 0.4. P is equal to 0.4. Obviously, what is the probability that the patient is not recovering from the blood disease is Q, that is given to be 1 minus P, and that is 0.6. So the probability of getting recovery, the successful is less, but the probability that the patient will not recover from the blood disease is 0.6, that is more. Okay. Now, what it is asked, if 15 people are known to have contracted this disease, what is the probability that at least 10 survive? So what we need to define, first thing we need to define what is the random variable. Let X represents the random variable, the number of successful patients, the number of successful patients means the number of patients recovered from the blood disease. Is it clear? I'm audible, right? Yeah. Number of patients recovers from the disease. Okay. Then, as you can see here, X is a discrete random variable. X is a discrete random variable. For example, now Xi, what will take? Yeah, the random variable X can take values 0, means no patient got recovered. Only one patient got recovered. 2, 3, 4, and so on. All the patients got recovered from the disease. Now, what is on the second row? It is probability of X is equal to Xi. That is the probability of the number of patients recovered is 0. 0 patients got recovered. What is the probability here? X is equal to Xi, NCXi, P to the power Xi, 1 minus P to the power N minus Xi. Okay. Now you use this formula. N is 15 already given. P is 0.4 known. And Xi, sir, for different values of Xi, we will get different values here. Right? What this quantity says? This quantity says the probability that no patient got recovered from the disease. And what about this quantity says? It says the probability that all the patients got recovered from the disease. What about this one? It says the probability of the probability that 2 patients got recovered from the disease. Exactly 2 patients. Okay. Now, if you look at the question, what it is asked, what is the at least 10 survive? At least 10 survive. And here, as we have assumed before starting the binomial distribution, here we should assume that the successful events, basically the trials are independent. The trials are independent. It is not like that first person got died, so second person also will die, or the first person will not get recovered, so second person will get recovered. So there is no dependency here. Okay, it is completely independent. The recovery of a patient is completely independent from each other. Okay. Now, what is the A? At least 10 survive. At least 10 survive. So, what is that one? Probability of number of patients X, recovered patients, is at least 10. So, that is probability of X bigger than or equal to 10. So, which actually means what is this one actually? It is what we need to find out. We need to find out summation I runs from 0 to 10 to 15. 10 to 15, probability of X is equal to Xi. Okay. Is it clear? So let me start with here Xi. This is X0 and this is X1. This is X2 and so on. This is finally Xn. Okay, Xn means that is 15. So basically now what we have to do here, we need to evaluate all the, first thing we need to evaluate all the binomial quotients here. For example, 15 for I is equal to 10, X10 is 10 itself. So probability of X 15 C10 times P to the power, that is 0.4 to the power 10 times 0.6 to the power 5. 15 minus 10, that is 5. It is what? It is the probability that exactly 10 patients will get recovered. But what we need, at least 10, so we need to add all the remaining things also. 15 C11, 0.4 times 11, power to the power 11 times 0.6 to the power 4 and so on, plus 15 C15, all the patients got recovered, 0.4 to the power 0 times, 15 times and 0.6 to the power 0. 15 minus 15, that's why that is 0. Okay, so you need to evaluate, you need to do all the calculations and you can submit up, you do the calculations. I'm leaving this to you. Now the second one, what is the second problem? What is the probability that from 3 to 8 patients survive? What is the probability that from 3 to 8 patients survive? That is what we need to evaluate. Probability that number of patients is less than or equal to 8 and bigger than or equal to 3. So in this case, what we need to do in this case, we need to add all the probabilities from 3 to 8. This one, all. Okay. So that is summation I runs from 3 to 8. Probability that X is equal to Xi. Okay. I'm not doing these calculations. I hope you understand the technique. The calculations are leave to you. Okay. You understand the concept. And exactly 5 means probability that exactly 5 number of people will survive out of 15. So we have that 5 can be any of out of 15. So that is 15 C 2 Z 5. Successful means recovering is 5 and not recovering is 15 minus 5, that is 10. So evaluate this one, you will get the answer. Okay. Now, in this case, what is the success? Here, the success means recovering from the disease. Recovering from the disease. Okay. That sounds good. That sounds good. Okay. Positive statement, and we are calling it as a success. Now, let me rewrite the same problem in a different manner. Let me rewrite the same problem in a different manner. The same problem. Find the probability that a patient recovers from a rare blood disease. The probability that a patient does not recover from a blood disease is 0.4. People are known to have contracted this disease. What is the probability that at least does not survive? Or from 3 to 8, does not survive, or exactly 5 does not. So now it is the same problem with a little change. Now what is the data given to us? The probability that a patient does not recover from a rare blood disease is 0.4. 15 people are there, so n is again 15. Okay, good. Now here, what is the success means? Can anyone say? Can anyone say what is the success? What we meant by success in this problem? What we meant by success in this problem? Probability of getting success does not recovering from a rare blood disease is 0.4. That is given. That is fine. Can anyone say what is the probability that, oh sorry, what is the successful means here? Here success means not recovering from the disease. It sounds bad. Am I right? It sounds bad. Success means not recovering from the disease. But mathematically, this is what we have to follow. Mathematically, this is what we have to follow. Failure means recovering from the disease. Recovering from the disease, we are calling it as failure. Okay. So basically, the success or failure, they are just labels. They are just labels. Okay. That is what you should understand. Now, what are the answers for A, B, C? What are the answers for A, B, C? Can anyone say? Have we done this problem? Have we done this problem or not? In fact, we have already done this problem. The answer to A, B, C is exactly same. Everything is same. Only the interpretation is different. Is it clear to everyone? If you have any doubts, ask me. Otherwise, we'll move to the next distribution. Kshitish Sharma, is it clear to you? Hashwant Pattavi, is it clear to you? So Kshitish and Hashwant, they are not in the class. Am I right? Kirtivasan, is it clear to you? Kirtivasan is also not in the class. Dilraj Saini, is it clear to you, or do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
Thank you. Nirbhay?
No doubt, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so now we are moving to another distribution. I'm not solving this problem. I wrote this problem just to explain what we meant by success here. Success does not always means the positive statements mathematically. Okay, it can be a negative statement also. Okay, anyway. So the next one we are going to discuss is something very important, another distribution, discrete distribution called Poisson distribution. Poisson distribution. So what we meant by Poisson distribution here. So before going to give them the definition for the Poisson distribution, let me explain a problem. Suppose assume that a very long thin copper wire is there. Okay. Very long thin copper wire is there. Now let me represent X is the number of flux along the length of the long copper wire. Long thin copper. Okay. So assume that the length is T. Assume that the length is T. Okay. T actually stands for the complete length of this thin wire. Okay. Now, suppose if it is given average number of flux is lambda per unit length. Okay. Per unit length, it is lambda. Now, what about the expected number of flux on the entire long thin copper wire? What is expected value of X? Expected value of X means the number of flux on the entire or the number of flux on the wire. How much it is? Obviously, lambda times T. Lambda times T. Okay. Now what we will do now, we will make this entire copper wire into some finite number of partitions. Finite number of partitions. So that is n partitions we have. N number of partitions I have cut it into the pieces, the entire wire. So obviously, what is the length of the? Assume that we have we have cut the wire into a uniform length. So what about the? So basically, it gives us an interval, sub-intervals. If you consider this is the complete interval, what about each partition? Each partition represents a sub-interval. So what about the length of the each? Well, length of the each sub-interval is given to be length of the each sub-interval is given to be capital T upon N. Capital T N. Now, suppose if the length of the subinterval is very small, the length of the subinterval very small, then what will happen? The length of the length of the subintervals are very small. Then what about the probability that more than one flaw is there in that particular subinterval? What is the probability that more than one flaw is there in that particular subinterval? We can say it is a very negligible. Consider the length of the subintervals are small means what is actually the partitions are more. N is becoming very large. N is become very large. So the number of partitions we are making. So the N is when N is going to be very large, then the probability that more than one flaw, then the probability of more than one flaw in a subinterval is negligible. Right? Negligible. Right? Logically, that is true, right? Not only that one, and we will assume that assuming that the probability that the number of flaws in every subinterval is same. The number of flaws in every subinterval is same. This is under the assumption when N is large. Number of the length of each subinterval is very negligible, very small. So this is what. So the proper assuming that the number of flaws in every subinterval is same. So that is what is happening here. So in this case, that is probability of containing a flaw is same. That we will assume, let say it is P. So what is P actually? P is actually if you take any subinterval, in that interval, the probability of containing a flaw more than one flaw we have already assumed to be that is what negligible. Okay, and containing a flaw, one flaw is same. That is what we are expecting. Now how many? So what about the total number of? So therefore, the total number of flaws are the total number of flaws on the wire is N into P. Am I right? How many subintervals are there? N subintervals are there. And what about N? N is such a way that the length of the each N we have chosen such a way that The probability of having more than one flaw in a subinterval is negligible. Okay, but we have also seen here in the previously the expected number of flaws on the y is lambda t, and here and with these assumptions we got here it is n into p. So that is basically expected number of flaws on the y, it is lambda times t, which is further equal to n times p. So that is basically what we have, p is equal to lambda t upon n. P is equal to lambda t upon n. Now if you look at here, as n is tending to infinity, what is here? Lambda is what? Lambda is the, what is lambda? Lambda is the average number of flaws per unit length. Here it is not about the unit length. Sometimes it may be the, I will tell you, okay, what are the other things? It can be unit distance, or it can be unit area, it can be unit space, or it can be unit time, okay, or it can be unit volume, or it can be unit some particular group of people, like that. Okay, and average number of flaws means the average number of successful events. Okay, so what about here? Let x be the number of flaws, means let x be the number of successful events along the length of the ride, or in a manufacturing company, or in a number of flaws in a productive company. Okay, which a manufacturing company which products certain kind of equipments. Okay. Okay, right. So that is lambda times t. So everything is clear here. So p is equal to lambda t on n. Now, what about the approximate? What about the approximate binomial distribution says here? It is actually not the binomial distribution. It is not actually the binomial distribution. So according to this one, what we will get? Probability of x is equal to probability of having x number of flaws is ncx times p to the power x, p to the power x times 1 minus p to the power n minus x. So that is ncx times, what is p? Lambda times t upon n to the power x, and 1 minus lambda times t to the power n to the power x. It is approximate. Why? Because as if you change the n, here the n is not fixed, the n can be changed. Okay, number of subintervals we can increase. Right? This is what, this is true for what? For large n, and of course, when n is large, obviously what will happen? Obviously, small p. Okay. Now, what will happen if we are what will happen if we are increasing the number of subintervals? That is, as n tends to infinity, what will happen? So as n tends to infinity, so with applying this by using the properties of the limit on this binomial coefficients, so finally what we will have is n tends to infinity, probability of x is equal to x is given to be e to the power minus lambda times t times lambda t to the power x upon x factorial. Upon x factorial. Okay, so that one you can see it here as n tends to infinity. This is what we will get. And of course, what about x here? Here x can be 0, 1, 2, and so on infinity. It is not there is no bound for x here. So what actually we can say, the Poisson, this is what we call the probability density, probability mass function of a random variable which follows the Poisson process. Now, what about the Poisson process? Whatever the conditions we have assumed in this particular example, they are called the Poisson process. Okay. So now let me give you what we call the Poisson process. The very first thing, the probability of more than one successful events in a subinterval to 0. That is what you can see here. What is the probability? P is the probability that the number of flaws in a subinterval. So that is given to be lambda t upon n. Whereas as n is tending to infinity, the probability will becomes 0. As the number of events in a subinterval, that tends to 0. The probability of one successful event in a subinterval in to lambda times delta t. What is this delta t? It is the unit time. Delta t is the unit time or unit length or unit area or unit group or unit volume. That depends on the problem. Third one, successful event. The successful event in a subinterval is independent of the other subinterval. Independent of other subintervals. So any random experiment which satisfies these three conditions is said to follow the Poisson process. Okay. Said to follow any random experiment satisfies one, two, and three of the above is called or is said to have Poisson process. Okay. So here, so that is fine. Now let me give you the definition of the Poisson distribution. Okay. Now suppose now you take a random experiment which is having the Poisson process, and now define a random variable that x denotes the random variable. Denotes the random variable equals to the number of successful events equals to the number of successful events in a Poisson process or in a random experiment which is having the Poisson process. Poisson process with the are with the parameters lambda, with the parameters lambda. What about here lambda? Lambda should be a non-negative. If you look at what we have defined here, what is lambda here? We have defined the number of flaws on the y, number of flaws on the y, that is lambda times t. So that is a non-negative. Is given by okay. Then probability mass function is given by the probability of the number of successful events in a Poisson process is defined as e to the power minus lambda t times lambda t to the power x upon x factorial. Here x can be from 0, 1, 2 and so on. Here some textbooks may define it as e to the power minus mu times mu to the power x upon x factorial, where mu is equal to lambda times t. Where mu is equal to the lambda times t. It depends on the textbook, so it is for your information. Now here lambda is called the parameter of the Poisson distribution. Lambda is called parameter of the Poisson distribution. Okay. Lambda is called the parameter of the Poisson distribution, and the corresponding cumulative distribution function of the random variable x is called Poisson distribution. X is called Poisson distribution, and we denote x follows Poisson distribution with the parameter lambda. Okay, x follows the Poisson distribution with the parameter lambda. So this is what yeah, okay, that is fine. Now come on, in fact
Guys, please wait for 2 minutes. There is power cut in his department.
There is a power cut in the department. Sorry, sudden interruption. So I hope everyone understood what is called the Poisson distribution. Okay, it's already 12:20. So anyway, we will continue this one in the next class also. So let me give you here. So what about the mean and variance? Mean and variance of
You can leave now. Class is over.
धन्यवाद.
Dhanyavad.
Rashwan, stop the meeting here.
Yeah, okay. We can't stop the recording now.
Yes, that I stop the recording, sir.
Okay, we'll close the section. There's too many power interruptions are there. So we'll meet tomorrow and we'll continue the Poisson distribution, and tomorrow we'll solve some examples also. Thank you all. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.